Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the next episode in the, well, I don't know if it's going to be a revival, but the revival attempt of the Rabeneick Cyclemaster moped thingy. The self-propelled wheel, pretty much. Last video I tried to take it apart slightly. I found out that the piston was really stuck, and this video will be about getting that piston out of the cylinder. It's been soaking ever since the last video. I think it's going to be tough anyway. I need the piston, I need the cylinder, and I possibly also need the rings, but those could be manufactured if needed. But to start this video the same way as I did in the last one, it is unboxing time! A million views. But I actually bought this right after the previous video was made, where I knew I needed some parts. And those parts are in here. So this will help me. I'm not sure it will be enough. But something else actually happened off camera. Unfortunately, I didn't film it. That means that I will need even more parts that I had already bought and were on its way. So that was quite lucky. But let's see. You will never guess what this is. Oh, you really shouldn't. Is this for me? So yeah, another Cyclemaster engine. I actually just bought this because this cover was on it, and I need that. Here we go. The cover is needed. But it might seem silly to buy all this stuff just for the cover. But luckily, something happened off camera that means that I will probably need this, because this got no piston, it got no barrel, but it got the rest of the stuff. And it's not supposed to be stuck. Maybe it is. Oh no. So this is okay, and that's a good thing because something happened. I got this really cheap, and that's nice because at first glance I only needed the cover. But it turned out the clutch is gone on the other one, as I showed you. It probably also is on this one, but I'm gonna strip this down and see. But not right now, because it's all about that piston right now. And here we have it. It's been in evaporust ever since the last video. Hopefully I can get it unstuck. But what I did since the last video was that every day I took it out of the bath, put that wooden block in, as I showed in the previous video, and gave it a punch with a hammer. I put it up like this with some soft support down here to not damage anything. And then one day the support slipped and this happened. This entire corner broke off. Yeah, it's a very Seaside Garage thing to do, I know. But yeah, I was really sad about this until I remembered that I just bought that other part where I didn't need the cover, actually. I only needed the cover and possibly the clutch. But now I can use this from the donor, so the buy is even better. But this is still stuck. I need to free it up. In a perfect world, I will be able to reuse the piston and the cylinder and the rings. It will probably not happen. But now I can go a little bit harder. But what I want to do is actually to attempt something that involves putting pressure on this through the cylinder head. So I'm going to put the cylinder head back on, and then I'm going to create a spark plug with a grease nipple. One of you guys actually commented about that, and I read about that trick a couple of times, and I think it's a pretty brilliant idea if it works. So I'm going to make an adapter that I can put in instead of the spark plug and apply grease to a piston. That is probably a good thing to have in my stash, because this will not be the last time I have a stock engine in the garage. So the theory behind what I'm going to attempt is to take the cylinder head, and then you could take the spark plug and remove the insulation, the porcelain inset, weld in a grease nipple and then put your grease gun on and then push grease into the cylinder, and that will push with an amazing amount of pressure actually, and the pressure will be even distributed across the cylinder, making a very secure push. I'm going to do it a little bit different because I have one of these that is a leftover from a diesel compression tester kit that I had. This one fits straight in here. What I'm going to do is to cut off this and then make a thread for a grease nipple. And then a tab. And I just want to put it out there that this is not my idea. I got a comment about it, but I have also read about this trick a couple of times. But this will be the first time that I attempt it. I have done it this way on brake calipers a lot of times, which is essentially the same thing, but never on a two-stroke engine. So it's going to be exciting to see whether this actually works. Okay, so I'm getting ready to do the attempt. One tip that I got from the comment actually that I think is pretty brilliant is that adding some rust dissolver to the chamber now will maybe work. In theory, the hydraulic pressure will then force this fluid through the ring and maybe help it a bit, freeing up the rest of it. So what needs to be done now is to just attach this one with, I don't have any head gasket, so I'm not going to use that, and I don't think it's necessary because I don't care if it's not completely tight, but I think the thickness of the grease will make the pressure high enough for this thing to work. I might actually also mention that I saw a complete Cyclemaster engine in working condition up for sale the other day, which wasn't even that expensive. It was an auction though, but I quickly looked away because now I'm all into this revival, and yeah, this is one of those projects that are not done to make money, but because it's fun. There we go. I put this in a little bit crooked. We'll see if it's good enough and tight enough for this to work. But this just goes into here now. Like this. And then I can hook up my completely normal grease gun to this. And the amount of pressure this can create is quite astonishing. You'll be surprised about that. I think it will be just as good as my hydraulic press. Hopefully we will see this turn at some point and we know something is moving. We won't know if it's all broken before we take it apart. But let's see if it even works. I'm gonna apply pressure now. It is leaking a little bit already from up here. It's leaking out up here already, but it is definitely also pressurizing. Yeah, this won't work. You could hear the pressure escaping when I undid this, so they definitely had a lot of pressure, but not enough. Yeah? So I might have done a mistake here because it seems as though this has topped down has topped out directly into the piston. You see, this is protruding quite a lot. I wasn't really thinking about that. And while it hasn't damaged anything down here, there is no grease in here other than just a little spot right there that I just removed with my finger. So it has been sealing against right there, so all the pressure has been concentrated. You can actually see the ring. It has been concentrated right there, and that was not what I was attempting to do. So I'm going to redo this experiment, but I'm going to cut off this part of it because I cannot just undo it, then it will seal even worse. But I'm going to cut the non-threaded part of it off. Okay, so I actually overlooked something quite important that will make this not work, because it's not threaded all the way, and the thread is thicker than the pipe, so it will never really stop. It will just go all the way through, if not hitting the piston like it did this time, and it will only seal if the thread is this long, so it will hit this part of it on the top of the head, and no cylinder head on a two-stroke is that thick. So this will just never seal unless I get a ring on right there that acts as a spacer. I don't have that. So I think I'm back to the drawing board, and probably I'm gonna do the solution with using a spark plug. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. There we go, one emptied out spark plug. I think I can weld this onto this and then weld this onto this. It's not the same taper, so I cannot just use the thread, but I think this will work all right. So I'm gonna reset the test now and see if this part of the Chernobyl artifact I found will work. So let's give it another go. This time it should work, at least as intended. But if it's pressure enough, I don't know. And if my welds are tight enough, I don't know. I can feel grease going in now. I thought it filled up a little bit quickly last time also. Yeah, now I can see it leaking out from the lack of head gasket. I'm just going to tighten it down some more and pray. Oh yeah, it's leaking out the fluid now. It's time to get violent. So I'm done asking. This will probably turn out with something broken. If I'm really lucky, I can use the cylinder. That would be really nice. If I'm even more lucky, the piston. But this is going to be tough on it, but the wood will just crush. We're just gonna have to see. I will still try with some heat from time to time just to see if I can make it go. We are currently only at 5 tons. I'm just hoping that the heat will break it free. It doesn't seem to though. When we go higher than 5 tons, I do expect something to crack at some point. Oi! That was a nice thing to see. Nothing is broken. It just moved. It just moved. It moved at 7 tons. It's stuck again. Nope, it's moving. But something gotta be breaking also. I'm just gonna fill it up with penetrating oil now. I don't know how far it's going to go down, so I don't think I'm going to go any further now. No, I didn't. But it's not looking great down there. The problem is that I don't know how far down the piston goes, and I don't want to. Well, it's just a crank that will be damaged, but that will be a shame also. Now something is definitely breaking. Probably the piston skirt that just hit the crank. I really want to pry this thing off now. Yeah, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. I think I went too far on the press. Yeah, I did. So it is the crank that is stuck. Or I went too far. That's also a possibility. Yeah, the crank looks very bad down there. That's a shame, because I really should have cut it instead of doing this, because this has cracked the bottom of the cylinder. So and also the piston, I can see. If I had just cut it, I would have had a chance to actually salvage something. Not now. It's just gone. And this cylinder looks really nice, so it's even more of a shame. Just gotta tap it the rest of the way out. So there we go. Yeah, this is scrap, unfortunately. This is scrap because it cracked right there. It's such a shame because it looks decent. Otherwise it could have been cleaned up, but this I can't fix. This is scrap. This is probably, most of it is scrap. So sad times for the Cyclemaster. This is not gonna work. I got a lot of parts now, so I really still hope to succeed. I need to check the other casing to see if the clutch is all right in that one. And if it is, then I just need to find a cylinder and a piston and piston rings. Then I'm good to go to start the rebuild and trying to save a Cyclemaster. But so far, I have destroyed more than I have fixed. But that's just the way it is sometimes. And yeah, I could have been more patient in this, and I could have tried a million other things, and I could have, when it moved the first time, stopped and see what I could have done. But what I'm most sad about is that I didn't want to just cut it underneath the cylinder, but just with the hacksaw all the way through. I thought that would be a bit too intrusive, because it would of course destroy the entire casing. But I really should have done that. If I had done that, I think I would have had a small chance to save at least the cylinder, possibly also the piston, but I'm not sure. It's really not looking great. Anyway, you can't win every time, and this is definitely not a win. Thanks for watching. Don't forget you can support me. There is a Patreon link down below. That way I can buy more of this stuff that I can destroy, because it's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.